Hello and welcome back to part 3 of our Kodomo-no-Hi Nomad Sculpt beginner tutorial series. Now, today we're going to be focused on the front awning or the entrance of this shop, and we're going to be designing these the shades that go up here in the front, the framework, the wood, and these little tapestries that hang down in the front of the shop. Again, I've already gone in the background and between this video and last video done the design or the mock-up of how we want it to look, and I think we're on the right track with the design. This tutorial is going to go a little bit faster than the last ones that we've done because we're going to be able to lean on some of the knowledge that we've got from the previous tutorials. What we'll do first is we'll go ahead and get rid of our roof and this sign so that we can focus on the bits that are going to make up the front of this object. So we're going to make these little sunshades up here in the top. Then we're going to make the side wood panels that hold up the frame of the entrance here, and then we'll make this crossboard crossbeam that goes that holds up the tapestries, and then we'll add these little tapestries pieces to the front. Those will all be really quick. We're going to use an array and a couple mirrors just like that to achieve the effect. And we'll save doing this design for perhaps another tutorial. We can talk about how to import designs again from Procreate, do a design in Procreate and import it and apply that image to whatever we're working on in Nomad Sculpt. So we'll save that for another video. So as always, before we begin, we're going to go ahead and save our project where it is right now. We'll hit Save As. We'll hit New. Go ahead and save a new copy of this. That way we don't do too much damage to any work that we've done previously. And then we'll go ahead and go through the process of building this from scratch. I will select what we worked on before. Make sure all of those are selected. We'll hit delete and I'll show you how to do this from the beginning. First thing that we want to do is we're just going to go ahead and add a box shape to our environment. We'll pull that down into position roughly like that. We're going to stretch this out a bit, and then we're just going to try and get the overall ratio of that object and see if we can't knock this one out pretty quick. Okay, so it's going to be about that big. I keep hitting undo. It's going to be about that size, and then we'll make it a little bit thinner. Yeah, that's good. And then we'll hit validate on that object. Then we're going to come over to our smoothing tool. Quick and easy trick to make these kind of soft edged objects. We can come into our symmetry. We'll turn on our X, Y, and Z planes. That way we're doing all of them. We'll hit local. Local just means that we're focused on X, Y, Z symmetry of the only on the object instead of the world. And then we're going to make sure that we show our lines so that it's easy to see where the topology is, and then we'll turn our smooth tool intensity up, make this a little bit bigger, and then we're just gonna smooth this out. And the intensity might be a little too much. Again, you can do quite a bit of damage with the smoothing tool. You would think that it would always be a good thing to apply tons of smoothing. But actually it can make a mess real fast, especially if your voxel count is pretty low. Ours is sitting at 270 right now. If you're following along and you've added a box to your project, you could go ahead and come up to your voxel menu up here, and you can set this around 250, 270, and that can make your object a little bit smoother if you're getting in a fight with it, trying to keep up with me. Okay, and then once we're good with that, all we got to do now is add an array. So we'll click our items menu. We're going to click add, click array. That's going to immediately drop us into the array. For some reason, we're in our roof. So we're going to drag that out. I don't know how that happened. I must have accidentally tapped the roof while I was moving things around. Let's see here. We don't need it to be quite that long. So we'll shrink that down about that size. Okay. And then we're going to be moving along this. It looks like we're moving along the, oh, that's why it's so long. We're going to be moving along this y-axis. So we're going to increase this count. We need 4 of these. 4 of these. And then we'll space them out so that they snug up against each other. We'll just slide the pencil along that size Y so that those are evenly positioned. And then we'll line it up to our photo. See how that looks. That looks fine. Okay. And what we want to do next is we want to rotate these down. And I've got my snap turned on and set to 5 degrees. And we're just going to rotate this down to about, let's start with 30 degrees. And if we need to adjust it, we'll adjust it maybe 25 degrees. That looks right. Okay. So we'll put it at 25 degrees. And then now that that's done, let's go ahead and add the texture and color to this. Let's do color first. And I've already got the color built here, but you can just use your eyedrop tool and grab that color pretty easily. Let me redo. Let's go ahead and grab that color. And it looks like I lost it, so we'll have to redo it anyway. All right, so we're going to go for a color that looks roughly like, yeah, like that. Something like that. And then we'll hit Paint All. All right, and then we need to add our texturing. I've built a normal map, and I'll leave that in the description for you to download. And then you can apply that to your own project if you're following along. We'll go down to normal. We're going to click that image button next to our normal. We'll click photos, and then we're going to click on that normal map. The other thing that I'll do up here is I'm going to turn this reflection down quite a bit because it makes it look a little bit strange if it's a glossy normal map. And then we'll go ahead, and I think I still have post-processing. I'm going to turn that off for a minute. And if for some reason yours is on, it's up here in this camera looking icon. I guess this is the quality tool. These don't really have good labels on them. You never really know what it's called. But we'll turn that off for a second so that we can see more clearly. And we just want to zoom in and see if we've got a good texture on this. It's actually really hard to see the texture. And definitely with the YouTube compression, you're not going to see any texturing at all. We're going to go back into our normal map. Let's hit local world. Yeah, we'll leave it on world. Sometimes local looks better. Sometimes world looks better. I haven't figured out the mystery between the two and why one will look better than the other. But what we want to do is we'll scroll down here and we're going to turn our scale down. And as we turn the scale down, the graininess of our normal map gets larger and larger. And that'll give you nice control over the texture of what we're doing. And that's actually going to look pretty good. Again, with the YouTube compression, with the video compression, you're not probably going to see that very well on the screen, but you'll just have to take my word for it that it looks nice. I'll shrink this down a little bit. This needs to be something more like this. There we go. Now the size is about right. Okay. And with the texturing out of the way, we'll switch to our front view and we'll start working on the wood framework. Now, again, we're going to just keep using the same method as we go through this. I can click on this. No. We'll just deselect everything. We'll click add. We're going to add a box. We will stretch this box out to fit our frame for the shading. We'll move this back and down. And what we want to work on first is we could do the center frame first. Actually, I'm probably going to just leave this here for now, and then we'll come back to it. And then let's do another box, and we'll do the side. We'll do the sides first, and then we'll work our way in. So we'll do another box. This time we're going to use a mirror. We're going to go outwards, and from the side, we're going to do this side, this wood on the side here. So we're going to come up. We need to come in a little bit, maybe about a frame width is how far we need to come in with this box. It's kind of hard to see. So we need to be about 1 frame's width inwards, like that. We'll squeeze this down to where it's not quite so thick, like that. And then we'll move it up into position to where it meets the edge. Whoops. I don't know what I just did. Let's go back. Okay. Yeah, it's going to look something like that. All right. And it looks like it peeks out a little bit more. It's kind of long. Maybe just a touch more. Okay. It's easy to overdo these things. Okay. That looks pretty good. We'll validate that. We'll voxel remesh up to 250 or so. We'll come in with our smoothing tool, and same thing as last time. We're going to check our symmetry. And you want to get in a good habit of checking your symmetry when you're working on stuff, because it has a tendency to default to your world symmetry, and that's usually not what you need. For whatever reason, there was a recent update with Nomad, and now when you start working with symmetry, it defaults to the world symmetry, and you'll constantly get in a fight with that. And if you don't pay attention, your symmetry is going to be way off, and you're going to spend a lot of time undoing a lot of your hard work because you didn't see the symmetry wasn't being applied on your object correctly. We're just going to come in here and round out these corners as we have it in the example image. That's going to be probably just fine. If you wanted to, you could use a move tool to like move these corners in a little bit, but nah, it's too destructive. We'll just stick with smoothing. It's the easy button. Yeah, that's fine. I'll smooth right there to kind of try and keep things even. There we go. And let's cheat a little bit. If you'd been following along in the previous tutorial, you'll be able to go into one of the frames that we've been working on before. So yeah, there we go. We've got one of these frames, and we can go in and we can go into the materials of that frame. And up here, there's this copy button. Let's go ahead and click that. Close that back out. We're going to click back on the box that we're working on, this one. And then we'll click on that material tab, and then we're going to click paste. And actually, we could do that to this other primitive as well. We can hit paste on that one as well. And now we don't have to worry about the texturing. It's already done for us, and you can kind of see that. Maybe you can see that through the compression, but we've already got the texturing for this model done. All we got to do now is the wood color. So we'll just grab that wood color, and it's about roughly this shade here. Sure. We'll paint it that color, and then we'll tap this one, same thing, and that one's done. Next thing that we need to do, let's go ahead and do these two side frames. Within that same mirror, let's go ahead, let's just clone what we've got. It'll make it way faster. So let's clone the work that we've done. Grab our gizmo tool. Let's move that inwards. Let me work on this other side as soon as I can see it. Let's work on this side so my hand's not in the way. So what we want to be on the inside of that, about right there, give or take. And then we're going to stretch this out quite a bit. So we need to come down about halfway and stretch this until we almost poke through the ceiling. But yeah, we just need to do something like that. And then we'll squeeze it down. We don't need to be as thick as this upper portion, that upper part. We need to be back here. We'll go to our right view. Make sure that we're lined up with the back of our object. Yeah, it looks about like that. It's roughly square, actually. So pretty easy to do. And that one is done. We'll tap this middle piece. We'll bring it in just a touch. Line it up there. We'll slide it up. Maybe, yeah, we could leave it. We can leave that one down a little bit, and you'll see why in a minute. And we'll make it narrow like that. That looks structurally sound. And we can get rid of this other lingering object up here. I need to hide that. We don't need to see that right now. Okay. And the next thing that we need to do are these tapestries. Again, that one's pretty quick. Let's see here. Let's go into our front view. Let's close that list of items out. Let's just grab, let's start where this box is, add a new box, and let's stretch it up a little bit. We'll stretch it out a little bit. And then let's see here. We could drop this into the mirror group. That'll mirror it. Then we can pull it outwards like this. And we'll actually stretch them to where they almost touch as they do in the image. And then we just need to make it a little bit thinner. Go off to the right side here. We'll make that thin like that. And we'll just keep an eye on how close it is to that wood panel that we built. Yeah, that's fine. Cool. We'll validate that. We'll come into our smoothing tool. We'll do a voxel remesh to 250-ish. Symmetry enabled, XYZ, local. And then we'll just smooth this one out just like we've done with the last ones. Cool. That went pretty quick. Since it's going to be the same material as the sunshade, what we'll do is we'll just grab that sunshade, grab the material from the top here. I'll close that. We're going to grab this material. We're going to copy it, come down, paste it onto this one, hit paste. And then all we need now is the color. We'll eyedrop that color and then hit paint. We'll hit paint all. And that went fast. Okay. And last but not least, our tapestries. Let's go ahead and clone these pieces here. Grab our gizmo tool. We're going to move this down, make it thinner. Kind of line it up so that it makes sense. Something like that. And we'll stretch it out a bit more. And those are almost square. So what we'll do is we'll stretch it to it's just not quite square. About like that. And then that looks pretty good, actually. I think we can leave it just like that. Cool. All right, so that's done. Let's go ahead and show the rest of our hard work that we've been doing previously and start lining everything up with all of that. So what I want to do is select these and we'll add a group, and then we'll call this we'll just call this entry to the front of the shop. We're going to move this down underneath the sign and center it. And we want to be right there. The sign's actually going to be sticking out further than where we are. Kind of like that. And if we look at the size ratio, we got a pretty good overhang here. Like I said, you don't need to worry too much about proportions when you're doing your designs, because you've got this wonderful gizmo tool. And this gives you so much control over the proportions of objects within your scene that you can just concentrate on modeling and keeping everything proportionate to itself. And then you can come back in, like we are now, get things positioned like that, and then we can come in here, we can scale it up, stretch it out if we need to. This is like, actually our example model is slightly off center, which is fine. But you stretch it out like that. And then we can actually stretch it this way. That looks good. And then, let's see here. To keep things from getting too distorted, we can stretch this leg by itself. Pull it down a bit and then stretch it up. And then just pull it out a little bit like that. And then this. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine where it is. And then all we got to do is come in here and fix this center board. It's one of these. Oh, it's not mirrored. There we go. Just pull that into the other one like that. And that is a solid looking front of our shop already done. And that was quick. Okay. Next thing that we need to do, actually we don't have to do this, but let's go ahead and make it look nice. We'll turn our post-processing back on so that we can kind of see what this is going to look like in our scene with some of the effects turned on. And I think that does look pretty good. I might make these a little bit thinner. They're a little intense. I think I just tried to rotate it. We'll pull it up like that. And then make it shorter. There we go. And then I can make them a little bit closer with the array tool. Kind of like that. It's kind of hard to get it right. Let's click on the array. Shrink that down. There we go. That's pretty good. Cool. Just like that. Okay. Well, that wraps up part 3 of our tutorial, and hopefully you got something out of this. If you did, feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And if you'd like to stay updated on any new tutorials or anything coming up in the future, please subscribe to the channel. Click that subscribe button. It helps out a lot for trying to build up the number of people that get to share or see this video. If you have a question, please leave a comment, or if you enjoyed the video, or if you had something that you wanted to know a little bit more about, or an idea for a next video, please feel free to leave a comment. All right, I'll see you in the next tutorial. Thanks for joining us.